Good evening. The last class we have explained the concept of object-oriented programming. In today's class, I'm trying to explain the concept of functions. What is a function and how we define a function and what are the different types of functions we have and how we can able to define the function in different ways and what is the concept of recursive function. This topic I will explain in detail. Okay. So here, first try to understand the concept, meaning what is a function. We can call a function is a self-contained block of statements. Block of statements. The self-contained means they will place in one place, that is called a self-contained block of statements. If you are more than one statement are arranging by side, down by down, so we can call it as a block. So the combination of three instructions or two statements or four statements, we can call them as a block. And self-contained, so means we'll place in particular place and we can give some name for this one. So thus we can call it as a function. So a function is a self-contained block of statements. And how we define the function? And before defining the function, we have to understand why we have to define the functions. Why we need functions. The basic idea behind developing a function is once the logic is defined inside the function, that can be used at any time whenever you require, or any number of times also. So what we have to do is first we have to say what I have to do. Example, a task I have given and the task has separate different number of instructions. Once the task is performed, is okay. If I want to do the read task again, the same task if you would like to perform again you need to write the code generally. If you want to do one time, it's okay. Two times, three times. If you want to n times, it's too difficult to write the code multiple times. To avoid the code writing multiple times for the same task, we can define the concept is called the function. The function is a self-contained block of statements where we can define whatever you want to do in that specific place and we can use whenever we require in our programming. So that's the concept of function. Why we need to use the function means the first one is the reusability. Reusability is the main issue. Main purpose of using the function is the reusability. Means once you define, you can use any number of times. Right? We can define a function with arguments or without arguments. So if you define any function, we can define the function with arguments or without. Or the arguments that will be parameters, what we have to pass the function. For example, I want to do add numbers. I have to say about two numbers. The two numbers we can call as a arguments. So likewise, if you want to give the arguments, we can do. If you don't want to give the arguments also, we can't do. And next one, easy to understand, easy to read. We can easy to understand the logic because whenever you have to write the functions, the function will become very simple and we can easy to understand. And we can easily to identify the errors also. See, for example, I try to write a programming logic about 1,000 lines of code. If there is a problem persists, I have to go through all these lines. So instead of this one, what I can do is I can define a program into number of subprograms like a functions. So what is the advantage of this one? If the error occurred in the execution process, we can easily identify. So we can easily identify the current memory, we can easy to read and we can easy to debug also. We can find the errors quickly. So this is a basic idea behind writing the functions. So is it possible a program without writing the functions? Yes, it is possible. But in some situations, whenever you want to use the same code, the same process, or the same task repeatedly, you need to write the code again and again and again. And this will become a very lengthy process. To avoid this one, we can able to use this one. So that's why we can call it a function is a self-contained block of statements. Now, next one, how to define a function? How to define a function? So functions can be defined with a keyword def. The function in a Python can be defined with a keyword called def. So what is the keyword? We already have the basics of the Python. The keyword is nothing but the reserved word, which we cannot use it as a variable name or the any other names. Okay. So here that we use a keyword called def. So now what you have to do here, the syntax. Look at the syntax of the syntax, nothing but how we have to write the function in nothing but the syntax. The syntax is first we have to use the def, the keyword, then the followed by the function name. You have to mention the name of the function, then followed by the arguments. And at the end with a colon. And inside the function, you have to write statements. So this simple, the syntax for the function. So you have to specify the function name, def keyword, function name, and arguments. Here the arguments can be, cannot be. That is your interest. That depend upon the programming logic you are writing. You have to decide whether you have to use the arguments or not. Here I am giving some example called def. Here. I will say here add. Def add. So what is def add? Add is a function. If I say like this, I can say there are no parameters because I am not mentioning any value inside this one. So that's why this is called without parameters. This is called without parameters. So a function without parameters. Now then in this case, you have to specify the values. I will say here a equal to 10 and b equal to 20 and print a plus b. So what is the meaning of this one? Whenever you call this function, what will happen? The first value take is a 10, the second value become 20, the output will be 30. So this is the advantage of function. So, sir, what is the use of this one? I have defined, okay. So let's see. It is the differentiation part of the function. Now, once you define the function, you have to call the function. It is the concept we can call as function calling. Function call. So how do you call the functions? The function can be called, the syntax for function calling is the function name, that's all. So what is this one? The place for the argument. If you have the argument, you have to place, otherwise leave it. Take the above example, what the function you define there, add, that's all. So this will call. So when you say add, simply what will happen? Automatically 10 will be assigned to A, 20 will be assigned to B, and out will be the 30. So now the question, sir, what is the advantage of this one? Let's see. I will say one more time here. Again, what will happen? The 10 will be assigned to A, 20 will be assigned B, and so. So how many times you can call like this one? You can call for n number of times. That is your interest. So this is the advantage of function. Basically the reusability. So here, see, I defined the function only one time, but I'm calling two times here. So there is no need to write the code again and again here. This is the advantage of functions. So now let's see what are the different types of functions. different types of functions. Let's see what are the different types of functions we have. First one we can call as without parameters. The next one, default parameters. With parameters, positional parameters, variable length, parameter, and keyword. So this we can call also called as with parameters. We can also call as keyword parameters. Okay, let's see this example first. Initially, we'll go into that later. The first one is about without parameters. It means I don't pass any parameters. See the previous example which I defined. I used the creating the function called add, which does not have any parameter values. Whenever we have seen the empty parenthesis, we can understand it is a non-parametric functions. So it means it does not contains any parameters. So this is example for best example for which one is a parameter, non-parameter function. And the next one is a default parameter functions. I'll write one more example here. I will say without parameters concept, I will write one program. We say def display, say diff display. I'm writing here x equal to 2, y equal to 4, print y by x. So here I'm writing one function, the name display. What it will do, it will assign the value 2 to the x and 4 to the y, and will display y by x, that is the value 2. So if I want to call the function, how do you call? We'll say display, just that's it. Now the function is called. See, this part we can call as function part. It's a function block. This is called the main block. So every program will contain the main block as well as the function. So function has to be defined. Then we have to call in the main block only. Sometimes we can call a function inside another function. We'll see later. Okay. So this example is about without parameters. Now to understand the default parameters. So this is the concept of default parameter. So what is the default? See, when I am defining the function, I will assign the values. Whenever I am defining the function, I will some values. That is called the default. Take an example here. I will say def add of a equal to 10, b equal to 20. You say here print a multiplied by b. What is the meaning of this one? See, in the previous example, I assigned the values for x and y within the function. In the second case here, I am assigning the values for a and b with the declaration only. So whenever you start to define the function, I am specifying values also. So this kind of method we can call them as default parameters. Means I am assigning the value directly when a definition of the function. Now see, if I call here add, what will come? The output will be the 200. Why? Because the value is already given. A for 10 and B for 20. Multiplied nothing but the 200. So in this case, what happened? I am giving the values and displaying the value inside the function only. I'm just calling the function. So in this case also I am not giving any parameter values, but it will take parameters. How it taking? Because of the default values that we are specifying. Sir, now the question, sir, can we have one default and one parameterizer? You can have, no problem. Now to see this one, the third one, keyword parameters. So in this case, you have to pass the values in the main block. The main. I will say here example def def sum of a comma b comma c. Def sum of a comma b comma c. We'll say here print a plus b plus c. Simple as there is no complex. So what I'm doing here, I'm passing three parameter values, a value, b value, c value. What it has to do, it has to add the three numbers, has to display. But the question here, sir, what are the value for a? What are the value for b? What are the values for c? I will give these values in the main method. So see, I'm writing the function, calling the function. When you call the function, you have to pass the values. If I say here 2, 4, 6. Now what will happen? I am calling the function sum with the parameter values 2, 4, 6. Now the question, where 2 goes, it will move to the A. Where 4 goes, it will move to the B. Where 6 goes, it will move to the C. So whatever the sequence you are giving in the function definition, the same sequence only values will be assigned. Don't think yourself that the 4 will be assigned to A and 6 will be assigned to B and 2 will be assigned to the C. So whatever the sequence you are using in the definition part, say A, B, C, in the same sequence you have to give the input because the computer cannot think on its own. So ultimately what is the output here? 12 is the answer. The output is 12. So simple. So this is called a keyword parameter. So we are passing the values here. And next one is default with keyword. So how it can possible? So let's see example. I will say def sum of a comma b equal to 10 comma c. What do you understand now here? I am not passing any value as a default value for a. I am passing the default value for b only. And the next value is a c. So what you can understand here is one default value is there, that is a b is 10. And a, b are not the default values. You have to specify the values. Now see, I write the code here. Print a plus b plus c. So now the question, how do you call this function? Take sum. So which how do you call the first one? A value. I will give the 5. And what is the c value here? 2. So see here, what you can observe here, we are giving 3 variables in the definition part. A, B, C. But I'm giving only 2 values. What about the third value? So because the B is already occupied with the 10. So now what is the output here? Nothing but A value is 5 plus B value is 10 and C value is 2, that is equal to 17. This is the concept called default with keyword parameters also. Keyword parameters. Default with keyword parameters. So what we can understand now? We can able to define a function without parameters. We can define a functions only the parameters. We can define with the default parameters. We can define a function with default with the combination of keywords. So we can understand the 4 types of logics here. Next one is which one about the concept is called what is the concept of positional parameters? Let's see this example here. So what is the concept of positional parameter? Here the positional parameter is simple. There is no complex in this one. The logic here is, so whatever you are passing, they should be in a specific format only. For example, I am defining one function. The function name is sum. I am giving a comma b comma c. I will say here print A plus B plus C. What this function will do, whenever you call, the function will come and execute. It takes the values of A, B, C and make a sum and will display. So if you call any function, for example, I pass 5, 2, 3. What here you have to understand clearly is, actually my opinion is, I have to give value 2 to the A, 5 to the B and 3 to the C. By mistake, I have given values as 5 to 3. Do you understand clearly? Actually, I would like to give 2, 3, 5. By mistake, I have given 5 to 3. Now the question, does the values can be swapped there? No. Because whatever the sequence you are following here, the same sequence you need to follow here also. That is called positional. So means if you see, for example, I say A here, the first value move to the A only. The B here, B only. C here, the C only. It will not go to other place. So this is the concept we can call as, what we can call as positional parameters. Okay. Just a moment.